Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And if I could take just 30 seconds, a point of personal privilege before I get started, as this is my last full committee hearing of my congressional career. And I just want to say thank you to each of my colleagues. We've had a lot of spirited debates over the years, and it's been an honor to be a part of this. I wish Chairwoman Maloney was still here. I want to wish her the best as she goes on from here, and also soon to be Chairman Comer, wishing him the best as well as he takes the reins of this committee in the next Congress. But I just say God bless each of you, and it's been an honor to be here and to serve with you. And I thank you for giving me a little time to say that. We are hearing a lot about right-wing extremism and violence. Obviously, violence of any type is a poison, as is left-wing violence, and that which is the fuel that is thrown on the fire by left-wing media. This is not a one-sided argument. It goes on both sides, and it needs to be dealt with on both sides. What happened at Club Q is a tragedy that should never, ever, ever happen in the United States. And I do want to commend the brave actions of U.S. Army veteran Richard Fierro for his quick actions that saved the lives of who knows how many other additional individuals who were in harm's way. But that said, I think it's a shame that once again, here we are in this committee as the majority is heading out the door. This committee's responsibility to deal with federal government oversight continues to be ignored. We are dealing with things that this committee has not dealt with in this country, be it inflation or energy or border or the Afghanistan withdrawal and a host of other things that this committee continues to ignore, and I think that's a shame. And today's hearing is but an attempt to blame Republicans for the horrendous acts of violence. And at the same time, many of my colleagues ignore many of the words and deeds from members of their own party that have fueled hate and violence, statements on anti-Semitism. We have major Democratic leaders who, quote, tell them, members of the Trump administration, that they're not welcome anymore, anywhere. These type of comments should not be allowed either. Look, the rise of hate crimes deeply concerns me. It concerns all of us. There's no question about this. It's a tragedy that we need to deal with. The reality is we're all human beings. We're all created equal in the sight of God, and we need to honor that. I have here an article, and some of you may have heard this type of comment, and it's just shocking to hear this type of thing. But the comments of saying, you're all trash, and I hate you, and I wish you harm. Some of you probably have heard that, those type of comments. But this comment was not made to the LGBT community. This came out last week. Comments directed to a group of Christians. It's unacceptable. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to submit this article for the record, if I could, please, sir.
Without objection.
Thank you. And just down the street last week, some individuals were not allowed to enter a restaurant because of who they were. Again, this was not the LGBT community. Once again, this was a group of Christians refused to be served in a restaurant because they were a group of Christians. It's unacceptable. Again, I'd like to have the article submitted to the record, please, sir.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you. You want to talk about hate? Between May and October of this year, over 100, just within those few short months, over 100 pro-life organizations and churches were vandalized, attacked, smashed, 38 of them churches across the country, firebombed, smashed, vandalized, pro-abortion graffiti and threatening messages left. This type of stuff has got to stop on both sides. Again, I'd like to submit this to the record, if I could, Mr. Chairman.
Without objection, so ordered.
We have the Department of Justice, who has come out admitting that they have raised investigations against pro-life individuals and pro-life organizations simply because they don't like it. Again, I'd like to have it submitted to the record.
Without objection.
You know, and by the way, dozens of those churches that were vandalized and firebombed and so forth were by the organization Jane's Revenge, who admitted that they did so. To this day, not a single arrest. So we've got to deal with these type of issues across the board. You know, I urge my Democratic colleagues to join us, not only with what's happening here, but the hate that's coming against churches, against pro-life organizations, Supreme Court justices, for crying out loud, supporters of President Trump. All of this needs to be dealt with. It is systematic and highlights a moral and spiritual problem in this country. And we need to admit that this is not a one-sided issue. It's on both sides of the aisle. And with that, I thank you for indulging me, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. The chair